Last episode, we looked at the cleanest Cyan grid found by the community. This time, the next candidate doesn't work. Not at first, anyway. As written, it doesn't produce the 64 characters needed for an 8x8 grid. But if one part of the text is read differently, suddenly, it fits perfectly. So the question is, was that the intention all along? Welcome back to the Cyan Grid Files. In episode 1, we established the location riddle as a clean reference point. It naturally formed an 8x8 grid and gave us one confirmed piece of evidence: make, word, map. But the press start candidate is different. It appears on the very same page, yet it introduces a completely different problem. Instead of naturally producing 64 characters, it only reaches that total after one important interpretation. So before we decide whether this candidate belongs with the others, we first need to answer a simpler question. What should we actually be counting? We know the location riddle naturally produced 64 characters. This candidate doesn't. As written, it comes up short. The only way to complete the grid is to replace 1978 with 1978. That gives us a complete 8x8 grid. But it also raises an important question. Are we allowed to interpret the text, or should we only use exactly what's written on the page? That distinction matters. Whatever approach we use here, we'll need to test it against the other candidates as well. Before moving on, there are a few things in the code and design that I want to document. I'm not going to cover every visual detail on the page. For this series, I'm following cyan as the thread, so I'm only going to point out details connected to that color. The press start text appears separately on the page as 3 lines of blinking cyan text. In the source code, that section is identified as the footer. There, the color is identified as the hex value 00FFFF. The 3 lines read, press start to begin your quest, copyright 1978, wonderfully created. The copyright symbol is part of the visible HTML text. That matters because this episode is asking what should be counted and what should be ignored. Back in episode 1, we ignored punctuation, like commas and the hyphen and damned up. So the question here becomes, should the copyright symbol be treated the same way? Or is it part of the grid? The same hex value appears elsewhere in the source as well. It's also assigned to the 2 lightning symbols at the top of the page. Unlike the footer, they use a different animation. The footer blinks while the lightning flashes. And the 2 lightning symbols are rotated in opposite directions. One leans left and one leans right. I don't know whether any of those details become important later, but since cyan is the thread I'm following, they're details I want to keep track of. I don't have confirmed evidence for this grid yet, so instead of ending with a conclusion, I'd rather end with a couple of experiments. The first is to look at what's left over. After building the grid, are the remaining characters trying to tell us something? The second is to compare the completed press start grid with the completed location riddle grid. Place one on top of the other and see what stands out. If you notice something interesting, leave a comment below or come share your ideas in the TQBB Discord.
Next time, we'll examine another cyan grid and the mystery of the missing 10 letters.